It looks like we are going to have a showdown over cannabis in state government all summer long. Now, to catch you up, late Sunday night, Governor Greg Abbott vetoed Senate Bill 3. That was an outright ban on THC products in the state of Texas. It passed with nearly all Republican support in the legislature a couple weeks ago. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting though. The governor says that instead of banning it, we should regulate it. Just like we regulate alcohol. You can only buy it at certain places, at certain times. You have to be a certain age, pretty much regulating the cannabis industry in the state of Texas. Here's the thing, however, the main driver of the THC ban, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, president of the Texas Senate, he's ready to go to battle on this issue. He says that Governor Abbott wants to legalize marijuana in the state with this action, and he's not going to allow it.
The governor of the state of Texas wants to legalize recreational marijuana in Texas. That's the headline, folks, because that's what his proclamation does.
So this sets up a showdown between the two most powerful people in state government during a special session beginning on July 21st.
I'm used to tough political fights. The governor and I will work together in the future, and we'll disagree from time to time. But this is a fight that didn't need to be.
I haven't heard anyone talking about the fact that the same spending bill that was signed to reopen the government also recriminalizes certain hemp-based THC products that were legalized in the 2018 Farm Bill. If you've ever gone to a gas station and you'll see those like CBD products or THC products with a really low dose, those are the products we're talking about, gummies, drinks, things like that. Over 95% of the products that are sold in this $30 billion market have now levels of THC which are banned according to the provision within the spending bill. Surprisingly, Rand Paul, who is a Republican from Kentucky, and Jeff Merkley, who's a Democrat from Oregon, actually tried to get this provision out of the spending bill, but they weren't able to. According to the Cato Institute, the hemp industry provides over 300,000 jobs in the United States, and there are hemp farmers whose entire livelihood depends on this product. Apparently, on the Senate floor, before they voted on the spending bill, Rand Paul popped off and he said, I quote, and this is from an article on The Hill, he said, "The bill, as it now stands, overrides the regulatory frameworks of several states, cancels the collective decisions of hemp consumers, and destroys the livelihoods of hemp farmers." And then he ends by saying, and it couldn't come at a worse time for America's farmers. They just slipped this in the spending bill and fucked up an entire $30 billion industry that employs over 300,000 people in this country. Great job!
So you think THC is banned in Texas now because SB 3 passed? Let me walk you through why it's not even close to over. SB 3 might have passed the Texas House and Senate, but that doesn't mean it's going to stand. Because this bill directly violates multiple federal laws. We're talking about the 2018 Farm Bill, the Supremacy Clause, Dormant Commerce Clause, and the Constitution. SB 3 bans the import of federally legal hemp products. That's a big no-no under federal law. It favors out-of-state businesses and pushes out-of-state competition, and uses unscientific standards to criminalize legal hemp. It's unconstitutional, unscientific, and unenforceable. So let me tell you what's going to happen next. SB 3 won't go into effect until September 2025. And trust me, by then, there's going to be multiple lawsuits, multiple injunctions, and court orders that are flying. This isn't a done deal. It's the beginning of a legal battle, and we're ready. Texas reps might have voted with their donors, but we vote with the Constitution, and the courts aren't going to play politics. So yeah, watch us. We're going to prove you wrong. See you in court.
We have a lot to cover today, so I'll be quick. What is the committee substitute SB3 and how is it different from the original SB3? It's 123 pages of regulations that are designed to destroy the hemp industry. There are essentially bans on a variety of different locations. I'd be surprised if you could have a hemp retail store in pretty much anywhere. There's also milligram caps, a ban on THCA. There are a variety of bans in place that are sort of disguised to make it look like it allows the industry to stay, when at the end of the day it is going to destroy the industry as we know it. Now, on the plus side, this bill is going to be reported out of committee, we expect sometime next week, and at that point it will be heard in the House. We will be asking everybody to show up in the House and show opposition to this bill. We're only going to be given 48 hours notice, and it will be sometime within the next 2 weeks. Although there is going to be no testimony, just a heads up. It's simply going to be a show of force, and we are asking everybody to show up. We want to load the Capitol as always. Love you guys. Happy hunting.
Breaking update. The THC ban has officially backfired. What was supposed to crack down the hemp and THC products has now pushed the conversation in opposition direction. Believe it or not, full federal legalization might be closer than anyone expected.
So tomorrow, June 22nd, Sunday, is the last day for Governor Abbott of Texas to either veto or sign the proposal to ban Delta 8 and Delta 9 and THCA and THCP and HHC and all the derivatives of cannabinoids in Texas, which is huge because Texas is one of the biggest markets for CBD and cannabinoids like THC. And a lot of small businesses like myself, even though we're based in Florida, really depend on the Texas market. And so we would lose out on the Texas market. And so tomorrow is a big day because either he can veto it, 1, 2, he can sign it into law, or 3, he doesn't do anything, which automatically makes it go into law. And it really worries me that this is falling on a Sunday because I don't know about him, but I don't work on Sunday. I barely wake up on Sunday. So I hope he remembers that he needs to get up and veto this damn bill. What do you guys think? Should he veto it or should he sign it into law? Let me know in the comments below.
These products were just picked up yesterday by my staff just down the rock, not in a regulated environment, an environment that's available to our kids, available to anyone. THC, 10 milligrams. You'll see gummies like this. I mean, if you didn't immediately think, is that a Disney product? Your eyes didn't deceive you. It's a disgrace and it's a shame. And the industry bears full responsibility for not policing itself, for the proliferation of these intoxicating products that are hurting our children.
Your favorite gummy or beverage is getting banned, by the way. They snuck a full-ass hemp ban into the bill. It can't have more than 0.3% THC. You can't make CBD products without having a tiny bit of THC in it. So this is a ban, and even the conservatives are freaking out about it. Our customer base that we built over the years is mostly MAGA. I took that screenshot from this person who's like really conservative. Until now, THC that came from hemp wasn't very regulated. And this will override state laws. Where are all my states' rights people, right? The hemp industry in the United States is about $30 billion and employs hundreds of thousands of people. This would be obliterating all of it at the stroke of a pen. I want you to look back at what happened when we prohibited alcohol. Speaking of which, this whole thing came about because of alcohol industry lobbying. They got Mitch McConnell to put it in the funding bill. I do think that if this goes through, if the House passes the appropriations bill as is planned right now, this is gonna get insane. That's hundreds of thousands of people whose skills are now completely invalidated because the government told them to go fuck themselves. And you have to put blame on both parties because a bunch of Democrats got on board with this version of the bill. Both parties serve capital. That should be your takeaway from all of this. They get alcohol industry lobbying money. The alcohol industry wants to make sure you're addicted to their product and you're not using anything else. Something that, mind you, has lots of medicinal benefits. Helps people through therapy, all sorts of stuff. Well researched. I don't need to talk about it for the next 5 minutes. But the alcohol industry is mad that you don't buy their bullshit. So they want to punish you for it. Isn't that great? Isn't that great that that's how this country is structured? How capitalism is structured? The whims of the people never matter. The whims of the ultra-wealthy, though, that's what your politicians answer to.
Politics, profitability, and worries about public safety are colliding right now in Ohio. These cans of THC-infused beverages, think of them as drinks that produce, in many cases, a light marijuana-like buzz, are selling like gangbusters at shops throughout greater Cincinnati, including Cappy's here in Loveland. The owner, this is him, tells me they're especially popular with adults over 40 who've probably never smoked weed before. But when Tuesday rolls around, these THC drinks will be off limits in stores all across Ohio. That's because Governor Mike DeWine has issued a public safety order banning the sale of intoxicating hemp products for 90 days. He's especially concerned about kids ingesting things that have legal amounts of THC, like gummies that are not regulated like marijuana. Cappy's owner, again, that's him, tells me he expects to lose $100,000 in sales during the ban. Those are real dollars that he hopes will spur action by lawmakers in Columbus. Be sure to stay with WLWT for continuing coverage of this fast-evolving story.
Y'all remember a few months ago when Texas lawmakers voted to ban THC and THC products in our state? Then Governor Greg Abbott said, no, we're not going to ban THC. In fact, I'm going to veto your bill. You need to come back. You need to figure it out because we need to regulate it. Well, that was then, and this is now. In the special session, Governor Greg Abbott seems to have done an about face and seems to be on board with banning THC. So Senator Charles Perry, a Republican from Lubbock, who introduced SB 5, basically confirmed and said this feels a little like Groundhog Day. So they want to ban THC. And this bill has now made it out of a Senate committee. So what this bill does, it will not target CBD, it will not target CBG products because they're, quote, non-intoxicating. But any gummies, any THC drinks, anything like that, that exceeds the federally legal 0.3% of THC will be banned. Now, this is an interesting part. Law enforcement officials testified at the hearing and they said, quote, no amount of personnel or resources in a state this large with this many locations will ever be effective in regulating these dangerous products. And that was kind of in response to another senator from Edgewood who said, we're going to regulate it by banning it because we've already tried to regulate it. So the THC drama continues and we're continuing to follow it. If you want to check out all the details on this story, head to thebarbedwire.com.
I believe they fucking did it, you guys. They really banned the motherfucking hemp industry. And this means that pretty much everything is back to square one, you guys. Pretty much all the illegal states are going to have to get it from their motherfucking plug again. They destroyed a $28 billion industry and pretty much 300,000 plus jobs overnight, you guys. Crazy.
This one came out the blue for me. Texas banned THC vapes. I didn't even know they was on the chopping block. I just found this out this morning. They stripped the shelves yesterday on the 1st. And apparently they took this neat little law into something that didn't have anything to do with the original THC ban that they were trying to pass. By the way, stalled and is not going anywhere. But they had just so happened to slip it into another bill and got around it. Look, I'm not a vapor or nothing like that. I just believe in freedom. I believe that if you free, then you're free. That's why whatever you choose to do is whatever you choose to do within the law or hurting somebody else. But whatever. It's just a little sneaky little thing that they did when they just snuck it on in there in another bill. THC vapes are banned in Texas starting September 1st, which was yesterday. Crazy, I know.
So here it is what happened. When the administration announced the THC restriction, the goal was simple, tighten control, reduce high potency product and push states too far in line. But the reaction across America was exactly opposite. Farmers protested, businesses threatened lawsuits. The state refused to comply. Even medical groups spoke out, saying millions of patients rely on this product every single day. And then, unexpected twist. Several members of Congress started to use the BRAC as a fuel to bring the federal legalization back into conversation. They argue that ban proved one thing. The USA can't keep pushing the law. It needs one nation system, not 50 different rules. Online people are calling it political backfire of the year, saying the ban only pushed legalization faster, not slower.
vetoed. There will be no THC ban in Texas after all, at least for now. Governor Greg Abbott on Sunday night quietly vetoed Senate Bill 3. That's the legislation that would have banned THC products in Texas starting in September. But look, it's not over yet. Governor Abbott has also called a special session for July that he's going to have several items on that agenda. One of them is going to be THC. We don't know exactly what he wants from the Texas legislature, but as I mentioned a couple days ago, I was in the assumption he was looking for a more tailored piece of legislation than the all-out ban that the Texas legislature was seeking. Certainly there's a lot more to be said on this whole issue. As I hear more from the governor, I will report this back out to y'all. Thanks again for watching these videos, and I'll see y'all in July for sure.
Your THC-infused drinks could be federally illegal within the next year. And it's all because of a last-minute change to Congress's new spending bill, you know, the one that was passed to reopen the government. Get this, the rule would cap THC at 0.4 milligrams per container, which is far below what most hemp-based drinks are sold at today. That means nearly every THC seltzer or beverage on shelves right now could disappear. Now, lawmakers did try to take that rule out, calling it a backdoor ban on hemp, but that effort failed and the language stayed in the final bill that Congress had passed. If the measure actually ends up taking effect, companies would have about a year to either reformulate the products or pull them entirely. Supporters say this is about closing the loopholes, but critics argue that this is a federal overreach on hemp. Either way, it could change what you can legally buy in stores nationwide.
Alright, Lucky Elk released another thing talking about the new ban, and it's good to know from their perspective because, you know, they're in this space. In the past week, national attention has turned sharply toward the new language included in the federal spending bill. Headlines are using phrases like ban, advocacy groups are sounding alarms, and consumers are understandably wondering what the future holds for THCA flower and other derived products. This post breaks down what's actually in the bill, what the intent appears to be, what remains unclear, and why the immediate future remains unchanged. This is not legal advice, just a clear, grounded summary based on an enacted text and reporting from credible news and policy outlets. What's changed in the new law? The spending bill includes two major updates that reshaped how it is defined federally. It is now defined by 0.3% total and not just D9 alone. This represents a significant shift from the 2018 Farm Bill, which looked only at D9. This means THCA is now counted towards that total. Finished products are limited to 0.4 milligrams per container. This number is unusually low. This provision appears targeted at eliminating intoxicating derived products outside state-regulated systems. Why are some people calling this a ban? The language itself does not literally use the word ban, but the effect appears intended to severely restrict consumable products. The National Association of Convenience Stores stated the legislation would ban intoxicating substances from being sold in convenience stores nationwide. What about alcohol? Exactly. Multiple outlets emphasize the same point, would effectively eliminate nearly all derived products. So apparently none of this is enforceable yet. This cannot be overstated. The law requires a full federal rulemaking process before anything takes effect. Agencies such as USDA and HHS must draft testing and measurement standards, define how all of it will be calculated, explain how the 0.4 milligram container limit applies, publish proposed rules, take public comment, issue final rules, provide timeline compliance, and coordinate with state. As of today, no rules have been published, no testing method has been defined, no enforcement schedules exist, no agency guidance has been issued. This is why NACS emphasized the delay. The bill doesn't go into effect for 1 year from the date of enactment. That 1 year window is referenced across legal summaries, industry analysis, and retailer bulletin. The 12-month window, what it means. The 12-month period is not a countdown to a guaranteed ban. It is essentially a year-long holding pattern while agencies figure out implementation, industry groups negotiate, lawmakers debate amendments, lawsuits are prepared, states respond, Congress potentially revisits the language. The next year will be defined by regulatory drafting, public pressure, political negotiation, and legal challenges, not enforcement. how Lucky Elk is operating today. Here's the part customers care about the most. Lucky Elk continues to ship nationwide. This is a factual statement about our operations, not a legal opinion. Our team is monitoring federal updates daily, engaged with advisors and industry associations, preparing for multiple possible regulatory outcomes, remaining fully compliant under current federal and state laws, committed to positive communication through this process. The road ahead, a lot can happen in 12 months. Even my dog's outraged. While the language is serious, the story is far from over. Already, advocacy groups are mobilizing, business coalitions are coordinating responses, members of Congress from both parties are questioning the implications, legal teams are preparing challenges, state regulators are weighing their own authority, media coverage is amplifying industry concerns. The industry has survived and adapted to multiple regulatory storms. This will be no different. Call to action. You can support advocacy groups, contact representatives, share credible information, push back against misinformation, stay engaged, not overwhelmed. Lucky Elk will keep sharing updates as they become available, grounded, factual, and free from panic. We're here with you. We're not going anywhere. Shout out to Lucky.
This week, Congress passed legislation to end the government shutdown and fund the government. Buried in that legislation, however, were changes to federal hemp laws that would effectively ban most hemp products on the market. The bill takes aim at certain hemp-derived cannabinoids like Delta-8 THC, THCA, and other cannabinoids that are known for creating an intoxicating effect. The ban would apply to vapes, flour, pre-rolls, edibles, creams, oils, and any other kind of hemp product that contains these kind of cannabinoids. Businesses have 1 year to comply before the law goes into effect. Supporters of the ban argue that this just closes a loophole from the 2018 Federal Farm Bill, which legalized hemp and, in their eyes, unintentionally legalized a broad range of intoxicating hemp products containing THC and other substances. Opponents of the ban, including the hemp industry, argue that this is going to gut a multi-billion-dollar industry, lead to tremendous job losses and economic losses, and that it's going to deprive consumers of meaningful alternatives to alcohol and big pharma. Let's talk about what this bill does and how it would effectively ban most products. It does three big things. First, the bill closes what's known as the THCA loophole. Under the current law, hemp products are legal as long as they contain 0.3% or less of Delta-9 THC, which is the cannabinoid most commonly associated with getting people high. THCA is a separate compound that is similar to Delta-9 THC and in fact turns into Delta-9 THC when it's exposed to heat or stored over time. So what you have are several THCA products out there that have under 0.3% Delta-9 THC but very high amounts of THCA. This ban would apply to those products. The new law is going to change the definition of THC under the legal limit to effectively include THCA as well as Delta-9 THC. So going forward, products not only have to have less than 0.3% Delta-9, but also THCA. This would effectively ban all THCA products currently on the market. 2, this ban would exclude from the definition of hemp any hemp-derived cannabinoids that are not naturally occurring in the plant or that have been manufactured or synthesized outside of the plant. Now, what this is really taking aim at is Delta-8 THC, THCP, HHC, and other cannabinoids that are extracted from CBD that is extracted from hemp, because those cannabinoids can only be manufactured through chemical conversions that usually take place in a lab. This part of the new law is basically saying if it's made in a lab, it's illegal. Third, just to make sure there are no intoxicating products left on the market, this bill would impose a hard milligram cap of 0.4 milligrams of THC per product or any other cannabinoid that creates a similar effect. Now, it's going to be up to the government to determine what those cannabinoids exactly are. It should go without saying that this is an absurdly low THC milligram threshold, and that in effect it's going to ban all hemp-derived THC products currently on the market. But it might also ban some non-intoxicating products, such as full-spectrum CBD that includes naturally occurring amounts of THC in the product, even if it's not intoxicating. Taken together, these three changes to federal hemp laws will effectively ban most products on the market and change the industry as we know it. Hemp businesses have 1 year to learn the law, comply with it, and challenge it in court. We anticipate seeing several legal challenges to this bill. It could be everything from the unconstitutionally vague definitions to arbitrary administrative actions. The Church law firm has fought for hemp businesses and individuals in the industry for several years. We've obtained injunctions against overreaching government officials, we've gotten folks' property back that was wrongfully seized, and we've gotten charges dismissed that were wrongfully brought. We will keep our eye on any development regarding the federal hemp laws and this new ban, and we will let you know as soon as we find out whether something has changed.
So now we are in a strange moment. A crackdown that means to control THC might end up opening the door of nationwide legalization. Is this actually happen or it is political noise? Guys, tell us in the comment. Let me know what you think. This is Lucas Tech. See you in the next one. I love you guys.